I'm walking through a ghost town, y'all ain't playing my sounds. Don't tell me to calm down, don't tell me to calm down. Only time I go backwards is when I wanna moonwalk. Don't test me, my mood's wrong, don't test me, my mood's wrong. We are who we say that we are. You were lost in the stars, and it's all from the start. Never running no base, never on the right page. But we still read that book, and we still run that race. Ay. Mississippi Racer riding out, no shortcuts, no time for that. Mississippi Racer riding out, till the wheels fall off, I'm driving that. Mississippi Racer riding out, we'll stop burning, strike the match. Mississippi Racer riding out, red light, green light, red light, good night. Ay. Red light, green light, red light, good night. 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 Time to chill, don't sweat it.
Good morning and welcome. It is Coffee and Sports. It is the morning show powered by Wire to Wire Network. Mo, I just realized my headphones have an on button. Never knew this. There's a battery in there. I don't know what it does. Apparently, I've been using them incorrectly my entire life. It's a wild thing that we discovered this morning. I'm just putting it out there. Welcome in. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning routine, whether you're live on Facebook, live on YouTube, or live over on Roku TV. Thanks to those fine people at Northeast Sports Productions. Mo, happy Tuesday to you, sir. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling great. As a Laker fan, not as great, but the Nuggets did what they had to do. That's why they're the world champs, and we move on.
Well, you know who else isn't feeling good this morning? Reports have come out from Phoenix that Kevin Durant never felt right. Kevin Durant never felt like he was a fit in the system that the Phoenix Suns were running. Kevin Durant never felt comfortable with what the Phoenix Suns were doing. Kevin Durant never felt like he was necessarily being utilized in the correct way in that system. And as a result, he just never got comfortable. He never got a footing. He never got into it. Mo, didn't we know this was going to happen? Wasn't this somehow not going to be Kevin Durant's fault? Like, why can't it just be it doesn't work out sometimes? And credit where credit is due. It wasn't a burner account this time. It wasn't secret social media back channels. Granted, it wasn't necessarily direct quotes per se. He did allude to it. But why can't KD just come out and be like, I thought it was going to be different. It didn't come together the way we all thought it was going to come together. And we're going to see what happens next season. Even if you're not going to be there. Or maybe this is his shot fired, Mo, of I don't want to be here next season. Maybe this is step one in y'all are going to need to move me. It was great being here. Thanks for the investment. Thanks for going out there and getting me out of the previous situation that I didn't want to be in. But I gotta go. I gotta go.
I'm not so sure that right now the Phoenix Suns ownership group doesn't have a mutual feeling towards him. The reality is this: they mortgaged their future for a win now scenario. Now, mind you, these are young owners. They just jumped right in and they wanted to make a splash move. They made a splash move. They followed that up by adding Bradley Beal, and you sacrificed the future for right now. And the results that you were looking for in the right now, you didn't get that. You got a team that barely made the playoffs, got into the playoffs, and got swept. And they're not going to get better as a unit. You don't have the assets or the picks to go out and add to them. Here's the thing. With a young ownership group who made this choice, do they say we're going to run it back and see what we can do? Or do they actually talk to a basketball guy who tells them, no, we can't run it back. What we need to do is we can completely blow it up, move Durant, move Bill, move Booker, or because Booker is our guy, it's more his franchise than anybody. He's been to an NBA Finals. He's much better than Beal. He's much younger than Durant. Do we trade Durant and Beal and get assets to bolster Booker to get us back to being relevant and being more competitive? If I'm the GM of the Suns, I'm fine with everything KD says because I think we should part ways as well. This is not going to work. And for him to come out and say, I never felt right in their system, if you watch Phoenix play, and I've watched them throughout the year consistently, they don't run a system. So that's the problem. They don't run a system. So I don't know why he's uncomfortable. They basically play the kind of basketball you would play at a rec. They just go up the court and everything is spur of the moment. There is no set plays, and what happens. And I really just think this is KD realizing that, yeah, I'm not going to win here. I get that. My thoughts as a fan is, though, maybe you won't win there, but maybe you should just stay there and ride it out, right? You're 15 years into your career. You're an all-time great player. This thing about you being an NBA nomad where you never seem to be happy, where will you be happy? What team can make you happy? I know the teams that might want your services, like the Knicks, maybe even the team they're playing, the Sixers. But what assets could you bring back for Phoenix? And if you do go to the Knicks, if you think the media is insane now, the New York media is like insane times 10. I'm not sure he's cut for that. I really feel like there is no happy place for him. Like, I think he was at his happiest, even though he didn't win anything, when he was where he originally started with the Thunder. I do. I think when he, Russ, and Harden were all young and the future was ahead of them, I think he was at his happiest. Even when he won the 2 titles with Golden State, you know what it was. It's Steph's team, which it was. It's Steph's culture, which it was. But you got your due. Even the Warriors fans who love and adore Steph readily admitted you were the best player. And that still wasn't enough. I think he's one of those guys that's searching for something, some kind of validation that will maybe elevate him into the all-time great. He's already an all-time great, but I think he wants to be elevated into that, maybe that top 10 discussion. You would have to win a couple more titles, and I don't know where you would go for that to happen. I really don't.
You bring up a great point, Mo, because he is always searching for something. He was in OKC. We didn't really know the quirkiness, if you will, of his personality. He clearly wanted a title, so he leaves OKC to go to the Warriors. He gets a couple of titles, but then he doesn't want to be told that you're just riding the coattails of the Splash Brothers and Draymond, and you went to a team that you couldn't beat. So then he wanted to go out and, blaze his own trail, if you will, and prove that he can do it on his own under his own terms. So he goes to his next team. It doesn't work out there. He says, hey, I want to get out of here because I want to win. I want to keep winning titles. So he goes to his next team. It hasn't worked there, Mo. So now he's once again laying the groundwork of, hey, I want to get out of here. But now you're 35, 36 years old. You're not the player you used to be. The injury concerns are still there. What team wants you? Now it stinks because that's where we are right now. What team is really interested in your services at a point where they're going to give something up? It's not like you're a free agent and teams have control over the money and all that stuff. You're not a free agent, and we're talking teams have to give up to get. And even if Phoenix does want to move on from you, they're not going to move on for a bag of chips. They need to get something back, whether it's something guaranteed right now in a current player or whether it's some potential guarantee in some sort of a draft pick. You're not leaving the building unless they're getting something halfway decent. They're not going to get great value, but they're not going to get nothing either. And if I'm a team looking at KD, I'm like, who out there is one KD piece away? Because that's what you're looking at. Who out there is a healthy KD piece away? because if he comes over and he's not healthy, well, whatever we gave away, we flushed down the toilet. So whatever. But who is a healthy KD piece away? I don't think anyone is that. I don't think anyone is so close that one healthy KD is going to put them over the top, because isn't it more than that, Mo? Isn't it more than just a health? It's all this. This is what you get when you get KD. It's the fit. It's the vibe. How is he going to react? Is he going to do little things off on the side that because he's not that's what you get with KD, and not every team wants to sign up for that, Mo.
I don't think every team wants to sign up for it, but what I will say is, in the NBA that we're in right now, if you're a team that's built to win now, I look at a team like the Sixers. You add KD to Maxey and Embiid. If you don't have to give up Maxey, which I'm sure there is off the table, you add KD to Maxey and Embiid, and that would probably make life easier for him in this way. It's not his team. You go there knowing it's not your team. I'm not even sure he's the automatic second option on that team. And guess what? At 35, 36, that's okay, man, but find a home. I think he has to go to a team if he's going to leave again. Obviously, it's built to win. I've heard a lot of people say he should go to Oklahoma City. The only problem I have with that idea is they're already a contender in their core. I think they're 24 and under. Their core.
Don't bring the old guy in there.
Right. And look, I've always been of the belief, right? Most teams, though, we always say the NBA is a young man's game. It usually is until you get to the playoffs. And then it's a mixture of young talent with veteran talent. And that's usually how you win. Would the Thunder want to bring it? Because he's a big piece. You bring him to the Thunder, and you've already have an established star in SGA, not to mention what you have in Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren. Like, you already have your own homegrown built big three, right? They've done it the natural way. Do they really want to bring in somebody like KD who's high maintenance, even though he's coming back to where he started? I don't think they would do that. I don't think the Thunder would. I don't even think the Thunder players would be interested in it. You know what I mean? Like, if you went to SGA, like, what about you and KD? He'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm good with Jalen and Chet. Like, we're straight. I don't see that fit. I think he has to go to a veteran team, and I'm only calling it the Sixers a veteran team because once you get past Maxey and a few other players, they're an older team. I could see him going there. I could see him. I initially I thought, well, what if he wants to run it back and go back to Golden State? At this stage where everybody's at in their career, if you put him with Steph, they'd be very good, but they wouldn't be a lock to win a title. They're at different stages in their careers, and they're not as dominant as they once were. And what would you put around them to make that work? So I think if I'm Phoenix, I'm looking to move him. Sure, I would like some young pieces, but I would take picks as well. I'll take picks. They're going to have to start fresh. They really will. And I'm not sure what his value is compared to Nurkic and Bradley Beal. I just know that this experiment has not worked. And if they run it back, it's that one thing where you're just being stubborn now. Now you're saying, like, no, I think it can work. Like, it's not going to work. You know why it's not going to work? Because the Thunder will be a year better. The T-Wolves will be a year better. The world champs, I don't know if they're going to win it all or not, but I think they will. I think they'll be better. I actually think this is going to be the worst Denver team, top to bottom, in the Nurkic era. When they go out in free agency this offseason, whatever happens this season, the Nuggets are going to get better. So I don't see Phoenix running it back. And don't forget, we got Luka and Kyrie out there. So Phoenix running it back for what? Their future is a lot of things. It's not bright.
Let's get JG on here this morning, Mo. We got things to talk about in Major League Baseball, which means there's only one person we can talk about those things with, and that is JG. JG's clanging and banging this morning. JG, how are you this morning, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing this morning?
Morning, JG.
JG, first things first, how was the road trip? How is the team looking? What are we looking at here?
Hey, we had a good weekend. We took 2 of 3 for a very big series. It was as I told you guys last week, it was the 2 best teams in our conference competing against each other. We were able to take 2 of 3 in the series. We didn't get the sweep we were hoping for. But winning a series at the caliber of the team that we played against is always a good thing. And it puts us in a position right now where we still control our destiny going into our last weekend of the regular season this week. We do need a little bit of help. They own the tiebreaker. We are tied with the team that we played this past weekend overall conference record. They own the tiebreaker with the higher nationally ranked team they are. So we need some help, but we're confident at the end of the day because we still have to do our job. That's what we're telling these kids is, everything is on us. If we win, we have a chance. If we lose a game, then it's out of our hands. Now we have to rely on somebody else. So we don't want that. We want to be able to control our destiny and go play the game. So that's what we put ourselves in a position to do. And we're excited for that opportunity this week.
JG, looking around Major League Baseball, there was excitement a few weeks ago when Jackson Halliday came up. He's been sent back down. Jordan Walker was recently sent back down with the Cardinals, I believe. The kid in Milwaukee, I want to say his last name is Chorizo. He is still up, but he is struggling mightily. I wanted to ask you, what is the mindset when it comes to a kid who is in his early 20s? I mean, Jackson's, I think he just is 20. You got a kid in their early 20s, 20, 21, 22. They are the number one prospect in your entire farm system. They are the future. There's no one's denying that. And then they come up for the first time, and it's not the end of the year. So take out the September call-ups and all of that. They come up for the start of a season, and they're struggling a little bit. What is the balance between let them be here, let them get the at-bats, let them just get the work in. We know what they are, as compared to we don't want them to be up here that long not doing well. We don't want them to be up here so long that things start going wrong to the point where now when they go back, they have to correct stuff. Now that they're doing more damage to their development than they are actually doing good to it. In your opinion, JG, what is that balance? Because obviously Baltimore said, we've seen him for a couple of weeks. He went 2 for whatever. Let's get him back down there. Walker's been up and down. They wanted to get him back down there. Milwaukee's riding it out with Chorizo right now, but they also have some injury issues, which I think is another reason why he's hanging around a little longer than maybe they want him to. But once those are taken care of, he might go back down. Where do you sit on should the rookie or should the young kid just take the lumps in the big leagues, or should they be kind of bouncing up and down while they're figuring it out?
So it's not necessarily bouncing up and down, because up and down means you're going to call them back up here in a few weeks, get them another opportunity, and then send them back down, call them back up. So a lot of the plans for these young kids, especially early, so there's always that date where service time is no longer accounted for rookies that get called up, and that's usually, I think, June 1st. When they get called up post that, now you kind of having a feeling they're here and they're going to stay, and we're going to let them work through whatever issue they may have. We're going to give them as many opportunities because it doesn't count against us anymore. For Jackson, Walker was up there last year, but we'll just talk about for Jackson Halliday right now. He was called up early. He played really well in AAA. The fanfare was, hey, he needs to be in the big leagues. He needs to have this opportunity. Let's see what he can do. There was a lot of hype. Okay. So the term "a cup of coffee in the big leagues" is exactly what it was for Jackson Halliday. It was a cup of coffee. Evaluate what he can do in the big leagues. Well, he's got some growing to do. He got drafted. It was, almost 2 years ago he got drafted, and he's shot up to the minor league system. He needs to learn how to be a big leaguer now. During this time frame, he learned how to be a professional. That's the key first. The first step is learn to be a professional ball player. Then once your development continues and you're spiking yourself up into the minor league system, how do you become a big leaguer? That's where it is. It was thought of that Jackson would be ready for it because of who his dad was. He was around big league ball clubs his entire life. He was in the big league clubhouses, around big league ball players. At every age he was growing up, it was almost assumed that he could be a big leaguer almost immediately. And I bought into the hype a little bit too, because I said this kid is going to be really good right away. Expect him to be. It takes some time to adjust, but he'll adjust when he gets this first time through. It didn't happen. The hype around it was unfair. I'll call it what it is. It was unfair. And him failing in this first attempt, and look, we'll call it was a failure in the first attempt to be called up to be a big leaguer. It now needs to, when he goes down in AAA, they have conversations with him. They have the manager and the coaches that work with him say, all right, you got your experience. You got to learn what you failed at, and we have to prepare you here. So when you go back, you're more prepared there. And that's where the understanding is. It's you guys say, well, how long do you keep a kid up in the big leagues until you send him back down so he doesn't have to like overlearn things? That's never the case. They're always going to learn something. They're always going to figure something out. There's scouts on the AAA team side watching Jackson play as well, because they have an idea. They're talking to the front office and say, hey, Jackson's going to be sent back down here in a week. He's not ready. We're going to give him another week, and then we'll send him back down. So the scouts in AAA are watching his games and watching what he needs to, what he's doing. So when they go write the reports to the AAA coaches and manager, they say, hey, this is what he needs to work on now. All right. So when he gets called back up, focus on it, teach him, develop him, make him be a big leaguer. So when he gets called up again in June, which is more likely the ideal timeline, we'll see him. He'll be an entire month in AAA. We don't care how well he could be batting .450 in the entire month of May. He's not getting called up until June or maybe even July. We want him to be a big leaguer. He's got to learn how to do that, and that's what we're going to focus on. So the timeline, as far as how long you keep him up, it's based off of the evaluation of what you see from him. I would say this for me personally. If he was tearing it up in the big leagues, and there were still some moments here and there, because where's his future? His future's at shortstop. Where was he playing? Second base. Gunnar Henderson's on shortstop right now. At some point, Gunnar Henderson's going to get moved to third base. At some point. Right now, Gunnar Henderson's playing really well. So you're not moving him to third base today. Jackson's not ready to be a shortstop in the big leagues today. So even if he was playing well, they want him to get reps at shortstop. So where's Jackson going to be back in AAA? He's going to be bouncing back and forth at second base, but he's also going to get his reps at short, because that's the future for him. So I have a feeling, speaking my own personal opinion, this was a planned move where you call him up, get him experience, regardless of how well he does. If he succeeds or fails, he's got his feet wet. He's got the hype is now there. So when he gets called up again, the hype is not as high. He can just show up and be a big leaguer now, and he can focus on the job at hand that he needs to accomplish.
Well, this makes sense. This is clearly what the A's were doing with Ruiz. He was hitting .415 in the big leagues, and they were like, "We gotta send him down. It's part of the plan. We didn't want him to be here, though." I totally get it now, JG. Couple of moves were made with the Rangers and the Red Sox. I want to get your opinion on them. First, the Boston Red Sox trade for Garrett Cooper, and then the Rangers sign Johnny Cueto to a minor league deal. Any true impact, in your opinion, going to come from either of those moves? Is the Red Sox move more of a depth move? Is the Rangers move more of a catch lightning in a bottle because we have nothing to lose kind of move? What do you make of both of those?
Yeah, Garrett Cooper was a depth move. Again, he's not really someone that you're going to expect to put big numbers up. He hasn't really been that in his career. So you're hoping, hey, a bench bat, here and there, a spot start here and there, to at least kind of provide you what you may need. But again, it's not hey, wow, we got Garrett Cooper, he's gonna be a huge impact in the lineup. That's not really who he is. He's a depth piece that, in case you need to give somebody a day off, or you have a spot starter or someone, a matchup opportunity, then you can put Cooper in the lineup at that point. Cueto, it's more interesting because what the one knock I have with the Rangers is the fact that they don't trust their minor league system for pitching. Jack Leiter got his opportunity to pitch. I'm trying to Evan. No, there's one of the other minor league pitchers. I'm blanking on his name. He's been up and down at times. They don't trust their minor league pitchers, and that's a problem when you have your veterans who are not healthy right now in Scherzer and DeGrom. You're riding high with Eovaldi. Eovaldi's still pitching really well, and he's pitching the best he probably has in his career for the last 2 years. But then you have some other guys who are just not quite pitching well, and that's where the minor leaguers should be getting the opportunity to come up, and they're not doing it. They don't trust them. So you go take a shot at bringing in Cueto, see what he has left in the tank. You bring him in the minor leagues for a little bit, and see, hey, does he look good? Is the stuff still there? How's the velo? And then if it's, if he checks the boxes off, okay, yeah, we'll give him a shot in the big leagues with us, and he can eat some innings for a little bit until Scherzer's ready, until we have someone step up and that is ready to go or gets a little bit more healthy. We can provide that chance. But Cueto's gonna, they're gonna give an evaluation of him in the minors, see what he can do, and then if they check the boxes off, we may see Cueto back in the big leagues in Arlington with the Rangers.
JG, before you get out of here, we got to know what you thought of the NFL draft when it comes to the New Orleans Saints. There's a new quarterback in town, Mr. Spencer Rattler. You got the tackle, decent tackle, I think, in the first round. You got Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid came to the team. What did you make of the overall draft of the Saints? Anything that surprised you? Anything that disappointed you?
Well, I love that they after day 2. I don't know if y'all saw this. The Superdome was turned red, and they had basically a Kool-Aid eyes, the Kool-Aid man eyes on the Superdome as well after they drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry. So I thought that was pretty. Again, you got to love the creativeness of New Orleans in so many different ways. I like the draft. I actually think they did a great job. They checked the boxes off of what they needed. They needed offensive tackle. You got one of the better ones in the draft in the first round. You got good depth with the cornerback with Kool-Aid, who is one of the more physical cornerbacks in this draft. A lot of those scouts and analysts are saying he's the more pro-ready cornerback in the draft, and he provides you an opportunity to kind of get a little bit more depth with the question marks surrounding Marshawn Lattimore, what his future is going to be in New Orleans. Well, I think they're going to keep him in 2024 and potentially trade him in 2025, where the dead cap to trade him is significantly less than what it is right now. Paulson Adebo's contract is going to be coming up in conversations here pretty soon too. So getting Kool-Aid does add you a little bit more flexibility in what your future is going to be in the defensive backfield. And at the same time, you can actually move Alontae Taylor to safety, where I think he's going to be more useful in the defensive backfield than where he kind of is right now in the slot. He struggled a little bit in 2023. Spencer before I go to Spencer Jaylan Ford, I think, is a very underrated linebacker pick. I was actually very happy about that. He's a good cover linebacker. He can hit really well too. He covers a lot of ground, so he provides you again a little bit more depth because Demario Davis is getting up there in age. We don't know how much longer he's going to be playing, so it gets you a little bit more there. Spencer Rattler, I actually like the pick for Spencer. It's intriguing. I hate the story about him that's caused him this fall. That why he fell so low is because of this reality show in high school. It's nonsense. I hate the stories that came up about it. Did he play well at times in college? Yes. Does he have arm talent? Yes. Can he play at the NFL level? We'll find out. And that's what I care about most. Unless he did absolutely something completely egregious, there's going to be no character issues from there. I think it's just a story trying to be created to be a story. Nothing really to be that. So I like the draft. I like what we did. We checked the boxes off. Kudos to the front office that I've been very critical of over the last year and a half. I think they did a good job, and I'm excited to see what happens as we get in the training camp.
All right, JG, we'll let you get back to your clanging and banging, sir. Have a good week.
I appreciate it, guys.
Mo, always a pleasure to have JG here on the show with us. We talked about it at the top of the show. There was NBA playoff action last night, and unfortunately for some fan bases, the journey came to a close. It wasn't meant to be. The final chapter has been written. Of course, I am talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and the Pelicans. The Lakers fall in Game 5 to Denver. The Pelicans are swept away by the Thunder. Mo, I don't think either of those were necessarily surprising results. I think the Lakers you hoped would be more competitive this time around, but and they won a game. But at the same time, when you're going against the team that many think are going to win the finals this early in the playoffs, it's a tough draw. And that's what the Lakers had, was a tough draw. I know we don't make excuses. It is what it is. You want to be the best, you got to beat the best. The whole Ric Flair mentality. But it's tough. I think LA would have gladly taken anybody else in round 1. If they knew they had to play Denver in round 2, they would have been like, all right, let us get things going in round 1. We'll see what happens in round 2.
Right.
Didn't go that way. talk to me a little bit though about where you see both of these teams go moving forward. That being the Lakers and that being the Pelicans. Are they on an upward trajectory? Do you see them leveling off next season? Are they going downwards next season? What is the current state of both of those franchises as you have fans who are like, I can't believe it. I can't believe we didn't make an impact in the playoffs. I thought we were going to do more. And that's where we are this morning. I think both fan bases thought there was going to be more than there was.
Look, the results, it's disappointing for both fan bases. But here's the reality. The Pelicans minus Zion is not the same team. He's not. I don't think if they had Zion, they're beating OKC. I think they're competitive. I think they win at least 1 or 2 games, but I don't think they're as good or as talented overall as the Thunder were. When I look at the Lakers, they're in an odd NBA purgatory. If you have LeBron James on your roster, then the objective obviously is to win now, right? It's all in. They're in a very tough situation. They have, I would say, arguably, they have 2 top 10 players still in LeBron and AD. And then you've got, I think, a solid player in Austin Reeves. D'Angelo Russell is talented, but he's streaky. He's very inconsistent. So you don't know where you're going. I'm looking at the Lakers roster as a whole, and the name recognition tells you, well, this should be a very good team. And if you saw the series, they led in every single game. They controlled, I think the number was 70% of games in the series, and yet they could not close. And that's more about Denver than it is about them. That's just more about the champs knowing how to finish games and how to close. The Lakers' future, to me, I'm sure you're going to hear the rumors about they're trying to go out and get a 3rd star, because that's what you do. Right.
Bronny.
Well, if you I look at it this way: what if another team gets Bronny, then they could get LeBron, right? That'd be like their
right.
You know what I mean? Maybe that would be their move. Like, well, we'll get Bronny. But yeah, I think I've heard people say they're going to pursue Trae Young. I wouldn't do that. I don't see how that would work. Look, if you're going to play with LeBron James, let's start with the obvious. As gifted and as talented a player as he is, and a willing passer, he's a ball dominant player.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they'll go, well, LeBron doesn't play point guard. He's a small forward, or he's a power forward on defense. But when they come up on offense, who's dribbling the air out the ball? LeBron James. I don't see how LeBron James and Trae Young would ever work. Not to mention the fact that Trae Young is such a deficient person on defense, that would probably drive LeBron and AD crazy. Is the Trae Young thing going to make them a championship contender? I think it'll make them entertaining. I don't think it puts them, if anything, in a different way, it'll be like the Westbrook situation. It's just a bad fit. I don't think you have to get another star. I think what you need to do is get better co-stars, if that makes any sense. I don't think you need another big name. I think you need to build the roster out better. Look at we talk about it all the time. The Nuggets are not a super team. They're not loaded with superstars. They have one superstar. I think Jamal Murray is an all-star who just has never gotten the honor, but Joker's their one superstar, and they play like they're a super team. They're a cohesive unit who work together. I'm looking at a team like even Dallas with Luka and Kyrie. You have 2 stars, and then they have solid role players besides them. I don't think you have to go out and try to form a big 3. I actually thought we were coming to the end of the big 3 era, and yet the Lakers are still trying to form another one. So I feel like Jeannie and Rob will get together. They'll make a splash move, and all the Laker fans will be talking about, we won the offseason, and then the real season will kick in, and we'll come up short again because we try to get a splash move rather than actually build a solid roster.
What would a Lakers team look like with LeBron, AD, and Kevin Durant?
Well, on paper, you'd be like, well, they're going to the finals. Right? You know that's going to be the target. We're like, you're talking about 2 transcendent players, and Anthony Davis is going to be in the Hall of Famer. You can throw anybody in there. You know, I can hear Mike Greenberg saying something like, you can throw me and D Wood in there. Me and D Wood alongside those three, and we're going to the finals. In reality, that would be interesting. But again, who's sacrificing? Because you're sacrificing to make that work. That is a big three. And yet, what I would look at is, as great as he's playing at the level he's playing at, LeBron's 39, KD's playing at an incredibly high level. He's 36. And the numbers are there, but if you watch the games, they do wane from time to time. They do disappear from time to time because they're not quite what they were. And I think that would look great. You know what? That pairing, Chris, that reminds me of the pair. If you threw Macho Man and Hulk Hogan together, well, what was the nickname? What was it called? Was it the Mega Powers or something like that?
The Mega Powers.
Well, you put KD and LeBron together as the Mega Powers, but then you would have AD over there. I think it looks great on paper. It looks really good on NBA 2K and probably fun to play. I don't think it wins you a title. I really don't. I think you can win a title by sacrificing name recognition and bringing in really good players.
The other game last night was the Celtics and the Heat. Mo, I think we've come to the point where we knew it should have happened. It was fun to talk about it not happening, but take out game 2 where the Heat stole one. The Celtics have really dominated this series, and I'm hard pressed to say they're not going to wrap it up in game 5.
I'm going to give the Celtics credit because I think they realized what happened, and they were embarrassed by that performance. And they've since turned around. They put the clamps on Miami defensively and offensively. They just consistently stayed in attack mode. This is the number 1 seed beating down the number 8 seed like they should. And so I look at Miami and I go, so this is not going to be one of those years, right? We're not going to we're not going to be talking about, I don't believe it. And it happens. It happens. Sooner or later, the team that's actually better is better. So I think, good on Miami for making the playoffs, for being competitive, but I think the Celtics will end that series tomorrow night.
Let's jump to the NFL, Mo. What's meant to be is meant to be. We talk a lot about players who are the best at their positions, often not being paid accordingly because for whatever reason it benefits the team. They've been there so long. They're trying to do different things. They need cap space. And for a while, people have always said, oh, yeah, Travis Kelce, but he's not paid like the best tight end in the league. Well, now he is, Mo. Travis Kelce signs an extension with the Kansas City Chiefs. He adds a couple of years, and he adds a buttload of money to his current deal, making him the highest paid tight end in the NFL. And Mo, rightfully so, correct?
Yeah, I love this move by the Chiefs because, one, yes, Kelce's getting older, but he's still a highly productive player. But two, to me, this felt like a thank you.
Yep.
And a well-deserved thank you for being part of this culture, for being part of the winning and everything you've done and sacrificed for the franchise. I don't, some people get the gold watch. He got the bag. And I just think I like the way they did that. I thought that was very classy.
I think Kansas City looked at their team for the next couple of seasons and they said, we're good going into this season. And we'll make it work going into the season after.
Right.
And if we gotta sacrifice one or two things for Travis and the 3 Super Bowls that we've already got, and the fact that we're gonna still be in that conversation for the next 2 seasons, I think they looked at it and said, we're fine. We're fine here. By the way, Patrick isn't making the most that he could be making. We're fine here, Mo. Let's give Kelce his flowers. He's probably only got 2 years left. The way he's talking about leaving football on his own terms and having all this stuff after football. And I think they probably had that conversation. Travis, what do you think you got left? He's probably like, I got a couple. I got at least a couple of me. Well, there you go. 2 years, highest paid tight end, and we'll see where we end up after that. I do. I do too. I love the move. I think that, like you said, I think it was a thank you for what you've done for this team, and I think it was well-deserved. Speaking of, well, I don't know if it's well-deserved, but I'll tell you right now, Mo, it's going to be entertaining. We are less than a week. I believe it's May 5th is the day. May 5th, is the roast of Tom Brady.
Oh, I heard about this.
This is going to be an event hosted by Kevin Hart. It is going to be broadcasted live, and it is not going to be edited. This is just going to be a live, star-studded roast of the greatest quarterback of all time, the 46-year-old Tom Brady. This is hitting. It's hit the news cycle like 4 or 5 times in the past month, but it's re-hitting the news cycle because we've announced some new roasters. Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick has joined the name of people who are going to come out and roast Tom Brady. Mo, Billy better be careful because we all know how roasts work. Yes, the guest of honor gets roasted, but we also know the fellow roasters also get roasted. And Billy, baby, there's some things that can be said about you right now,
man,
that I don't know if you want to open yourself up to. I'm just saying.
Man, if I was Belichick, I would have signed up to be there out of respect, but I'm not roasting because I know when he gets up there, when Brady gets up there, he's got a lot of ammunition on me. Like I can see Brady right now. Like, how's the job search? You know, I mean, there's so many places he can go. Man, like I said, Belichick better roast with kindness.
Bill, we're so glad you could be here tonight, but then again, you weren't really doing much outs lately, so
right. We knew your schedule was clear, so yeah.
Joining Bill Belichick, other former Patriot greats: Randy Moss, Julian Edelman, Drew Bledsoe.
Wow.
Okay.
That's
wonder how he feels about Tom.
I can see Bledsoe actually being really funny because I can see Bledsoe going, you know, if Mo Lewis doesn't take me out, I'm you, right? He's gonna say like, I'm you.
Rob Gronkowski and then some other celebrities will be there as well. It's May 5th. It's on Netflix. I'm sure it's going to pull a big number. I'm sure it's going to be a great night. I'm excited to see what Brady has to dish out. I feel like whenever Brady has an opportunity to speak in these kind of open forum situations, he's usually money. And Mo, we know the Brady mindset. I know what some people are thinking. Being a comedian is very hard, Chris. Not everybody can do it. If you don't think that Tom Brady hasn't put together a team of the greatest writers over the past month to develop content with for this roast, you have lost your damn mind. I can't even fathom to think the people that Tom Brady has brought into this conversation to help him prepare jokes for. He is going to go out there and, Mo, I guarantee you're going to be like, I got a little Chris Rock in him because I bet you Chris Rock wrote the joke. You're going to go through there and you're going to see like 6 different comedians come out of Tom Brady, probably because he worked with all of them to develop his material.
That is Tom Brady. He is going to prepare for this the way he prepares for everything in life, and he's going to come out and you're like, man, Brady's got some really great comedic timing. Like, yeah, don't be shocked at all. Trust me.
Also in the NFL, a few more tidbits before we head out today. The Las Vegas Raiders sign Michael Gallup to a I believe it's a 1-year contract for $3 million. Okay, Mo. I always thought Michael Gallup was a huge disappointment in Dallas. I always thought that Michael Gallup was largely overhyped with the Cowboys. It always fascinated me when Dallas Cowboy fans were like, well, look at our weapons. And they would throw Gallup into the conversation. I was like, that guy never catches the ball. Why do we keep talking about Gallup like he is some sort of a big deal in Dallas? Right. I mean, he was there. That's why he was a big deal. Dallas is a big deal. He was in Dallas at the wide receiver position, so he was spoken about. But production-wise, I just never felt he was anything special. But now he goes to Las Vegas. I hope out of the spotlight of Dallas, out of the continued national narrative with Dak Prescott. I hope he can find something and just be a productive player with the Raiders.
And not everybody's built for the spotlight. I think going to the Raiders, getting a fresh start, a new scenery altogether, maybe that will bring out the very best in Michael Gallup. What I remember about him is people would hype him up to be the number 2 receiver, but he didn't give you number 2 production. He didn't even give you number 3 production. Like Michael Gallup is the Buddy Hield of the NFL.
No, not Buddy.
You can't rely on him.
Not future Los Angeles Laker Buddy Hield.
No. I think you can see his audition with the Sixers. No, we're good. We're good.
Before we get out of here, last thing today, Mo. I don't know if you saw this. The Chicago Bears are about to put forth plans to bring forth a $3.2 billion stadium. Wow. Now, the timing kind of makes sense. They just got probably the greatest quarterback they're ever going to have in Caleb Williams. Let's be fair. The Chicago Bears don't have a great history of quarterbacks. Caleb Williams is probably going to do something this season that no Chicago Bears quarterback has ever done ever when he passes for 4,000 yards, which is mind-boggling to say. But, Mo, the reason I want to talk about the new stadium, not because it costs $3.2 billion, reportedly. Other estimates have it closer to 5 when it's all said and done. But it isn't just a stadium, Mo. It's a dome. They're bringing a dome to Chicago. So, Mo, I have to ask you the question. These are the Chicago Bears.
I know where you're going.
This is the 80s Bears defense. This is the elements. This is the Windy City. This is the snow. This is, you got to be a man to come play in Chicago in November and December. They don't play much in January. In November and December. And now they're going to put the Bears inside, Mo, where it's a comfortable 68 degrees. And there goes the wind. There goes the elements. I don't care. I'm a Dolphin fan. I don't give a crap whether I would prefer to play a playoff game in Chicago if it comes to be that way. It would probably be in a Super Bowl situation. I would prefer to do that inside. I'm all about it. Give Buffalo a dome. Give Kansas City a dome. Miami wants every team they could ever face in the playoffs to be in a dome.
I have no problem with that.
But, Mo, we know the purists that are out there.
Like
I don't know if they're going to like the dome. Like, what if Green Bay goes dome? What if the frozen tundra becomes the thawed tundra and they go? I feel like I don't think Chicago is quite that, but I feel they're the next step down.
They are. Think about the football lore, right? When you watch them old NFL tapes and you hear John Facenda's voice, the frozen tundra of Green Bay, the wind, that Chicago Hawk, Dick Butkus, knuckles bleeding in the cold, Mike Singletary, crazy eyes in the cold. One of the reasons they haven't had great quarterbacks, probably because they play in the cold weather, man. But also, they've had some great running backs, Gale Sayers, Walter Payton. So that could have something to do with it. But the idea that the Bears are going to be now indoors, away from the elements, it almost feels like they're not the Bears anymore. And like you said, if the Packers go, that's not a bad idea, and they follow suit, the black and blue division is no longer the black and blue division.
Mo, I get it. Let's be honest. Not many people are using, I believe it's still called Soldier Field. Not many people are using that venue for anything in November and December and January and February. Obviously, once you get a dome, you are opening up the endless possibilities of other people, other sports, other entertainment things using your venue, because the Bears only play 8 or 9 games at home a season. So all those other weekends, all those other nights, when it's freezing in Chicago, there isn't much happening there. So it's going to be a game changer for Chicago as far as that is concerned. But Mo, I'm just picturing 3 or 4 years from now when it's all said and done. It's -1 degree in Chicago, but don't worry, folks. We're inside.
Right.
It
So
is
now
68 in here.
So now you're a Bears fan and you're all bundled up trying to get through that negative weather, but you tell your kids like we're almost to the stadium.
Right.
Now it's different. Once we get their kids salvation, it's 68 degrees, get a hot dog, the vendors are walking around. This is wonderful. This is different. No more. What is that thing that happened in New England many years ago? It was called the snow game when the guy came out and he cleared a spot or something like that. You won't see that kind of thing. And look, I know the purists hate this, but if you ask the players, I'm sure they're like, yeah, I'm down.
Yeah, they're okay.
Yeah, they're 100% good with this.
Mo, close us out on a Tuesday, sir.
Thank you guys so much for joining Chris and I this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content that we have at the Wire to Wire Network. We appreciate you, your support, your follows, your subs. We're growing, guys, and it's because of you. Wire to Wire Network. Thank you.
Make sure you're back with us same time, same place tomorrow. Will be here to talk NBA playoffs. The NFL genius himself will be here to break down some things from the draft. All of that and more. Coffee and sports. It's the morning show powered by